over faith versus equality is back. Today, the Supreme Court will begin its day-to-day hearing on women's entry to Sabarimala Temple. SC will be hearing a batch of 66 review petitions against a September 2018 judgment allowing women's entry into the Sabarimala Temple in Kerala. So what does, the petition say? What are we expecting in the court? Let's take a look. When we speak of this particular issue, Sabarimala, women's entry into Sabarimala, because that has been an extremely contentious issue, and that is going to be something which will be taken up in the Supreme Court as well. So what is the timeline of this case? Let's take you through the entire timeline. April 7 was when day-to-day hearing had begun. 9-judge bench also to be constituted. And also what we know is that what is going to happen next, parties supporting the review are going to argue, and then we are going to see parties opposing the review will be arguing. So both parties are going to get sides to argue their sides. 21 to 22nd April is when the rejoinder can be submitted, and also April 22nd, the hearing likely to be concluded. So that is the latest far as the Sabarimala showdown in the Supreme Court is concerned. What is the entire case 2018, what we thought of at 2026, how it stands? 2018, first of all, this is the left switches, the left switching the sides first. It was 2018 when this was the stand of the left government. The left government, Kerala government back then defended the SC verdict against the entry ban, and then 2026 seems to be making a U-turn of sorts, saying that they must consult religious scholars, and that itself has led obviously to a lot of politics as well. 2018, they had backed women's entry, as we were saying. They had championed women's entry into Sabarimala. Today, 2026, they seem to be calling for respect for the sentiment of the devotees. So that obviously is the two sides when we speak of the Vijayan government, how they reacted back in 2018, and in 2026 they seem to be making a U-turn. We have many reactions also coming in. Let's listen in.
We are supporting women entry. The Supreme Court held basically that any practice which is discriminatory and violative of basic rights of humans, including the right to equality of women, is cannot be claimed as a right to religion, and therefore any such practice of any religion is unconstitutional, is our stand. And before the 9-judge bench, the reference questions will address all such discriminatory practices irrespective of the religion.
All right, my colleague Harish is joining us live on the broadcast. Harish, as far as the Sabarimala issue is concerned, the entry of women, it's going to be an extremely critical day in the Supreme Court. Take us through what we can expect in the course of the coming days.
Yes, good morning, Meenakshi. A big day as far as the Sabarimala controversy is concerned, the women entry issue is concerned. A nine-judge multi-faith constitution bench will at 10:30 commence the hearing on 66 review petitions which have challenged the September 2018 judgment which had allowed women of all ages, including menstruating women between age 10 and 50, also to enter the hill shrine of Sabarimala. And in fact, the Supreme Court had then upheld each and every argument put forward by the petitioner, Indian Young Lawyers Association, which had said that this exclusion of women is discriminatory, violation of right to equality, violation of prohibition on the grounds of sex, and also right to religion. And Supreme Court had very emphatically said that constitutional morality overrides any such tradition and customs which are discriminatory to women, and exclusion of women from entering the Sabarimala is not an essential religious practice. But we have 66 petitioners who argue that this exclusion is not on ground of discriminatory, but to maintain the purity of the unique feature of the Lord the deity, Lord Ayyappa, who is a celibate, and Naistic Brahmachari, who shuns women. So therefore, they have cited the age centuries old traditional and customs, saying that the devotees of Lord Ayyappa are a separate denomination, and it is for them to decide what is the essential religious practice, and the court has no business to intervene. Court cannot decide matters of faith. And also, the petitioners, Indian Young Lawyers Association, are non-believers who cannot invoke Article 32 because they are not seeking a right to pray in the temple. Therefore, their fundamental right is not violated. And very significant developments before the hearing, Meenakshi, because the Kerala government has taken a U-turn. In 2018, they had vociferously supported the entry of women of all ages, saying that exclusion is discriminatory. And but now they have said that the contentious issue should be left to the a wider deliberation with social reformers and religious scholars, and only then a decision can be taken. At the same time, the Travancore Devasam Board, which manages around 1,000 temples in Kerala, have also upheld the faith and belief of the people, and said that believers, the Supreme Court should go act as per the believers, because
and those arguments obviously are going to continue. Harish, do stay with us, because viewers, let's also talk about what was Supreme Court's 2018 Sabarimala verdict. The court had ruled that traditions cannot override equality, and barring women from worshipping is unconstitutional, calling such exclusion discriminatory and also rooted in patriarchy. The court said that faith cannot be used to deny women their fundamental rights. So this is exactly what the 2018 Sabarimala order entailed. What did the court say? I'm going to take out some excerpts from that key judgment. Excerpt number 1 was exception on biological accept was indefensible. Then the court went on to say that dualistic approach degrades women's status. Also going on to say that patriarchy of religion cannot trump faith, dogma clouding relationships with divine, barring women violates right to worship, and also exclusion cannot be essential practice. So those were the key observations of the court. Meanwhile, several issues on which the court has to make a decision, how far religious freedom extends and whether it can override other fundamental rights. At the heart of it all is balancing individual rights, also denominational powers, defining the limit of faith under constitutional morality. What the court must decide, viewers, basically issues framed by SC bench for adjudication. Issue number 1, what's the scope of right to freedom of religion under Article 25? Issue number 2, how does Article 25 individual religious right and also Article 26 interact? Also, are Article 26 rights subject to other fundamental rights beyond order, morality, health? And also, does morality in Article 25, 26 include concept of constitutional morality? What are the limits of judicial review when examining protected religious practices under Article 25? What is the legal definition of sections of Hindus used in Article 25 2B? Also, can an outsider, a non-member, challenge a specific religious practice through a PIL?
So the larger bench will be hearing the review petitioners for 3 days. Even though the connected matters also would be heard, the focus would be on Sabarimala entry, women entry issue. And what is being expected in the context of reference to the larger bench is as to whether the court is justified in segregating or differentiating what is essential to religion and what is non-essential, and whether such a parameter can interdict or can interfere with the character of the deity as worshipped in Sabarimala. This is going to be first time the court will be examining in finer details as to what extent law or judicial institutions can interfere with the essential religious practices of a temple.
All right, my colleague Arpita is also live with us. Arpita, let's talk about, the left's U-turn, because that also has become a massive point of contention, a slugfest between obviously the ruling government and the opposition parties there in Kerala. Take us through the left's changing stance, what they said and believed back in 2018 and how they seem to be changing their stance today, and what's the political fallout of the same.
Well, Lakshya, in 2018, Kerala government was in the opinion that women of all ages should be allowed to enter Sabarimala, and they were agreeing with the Supreme Court's order. But just before elections, they changed their stand. They took a U-turn, saying that a group of religious scholars should be formed, and then they should be given the idea to discuss and then decide what to do further. It is they should be the right person to take a call, is what the state government said. But when we spoke to Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan, asking that isn't it a U-turn just before assembly election, he said that this is not a U-turn. In 2006, 20 years back, CPM similarly, they took a similar stand, saying that scholars should be given the rights to decide on what to be done and what not to be done. And even then they had this stand. Even then in 2006, state government had this stand. And even now they are just reconfirming the same stand. So Chief Minister said that this is not a U-turn, but clearly it looks like they have diluted their stand. They have taken a U-turn, because in 2018 they had clearly said that they are in the favor that women of all age groups should be allowed, but now they are saying that no religious scholars should be allowed to take this decision. And this also comes just before the assembly elections. And also today's court hearing is also very crucial, because in 2 days Kerala will be going for polls. So
and obviously this is coming right. Obviously, when there are polls also around the corner, whatever happens in the court, every reaction, every word coming out of the Supreme Court obviously is going to be extremely crucial. We will keep bringing our viewers all the updates coming in from the top court as well. Arpita, thank you for bringing us a political fallout of what we are seeing in the top court. We're shifting our focus to another big breaking news coming in. Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge is at the center of a massive row of viewers. He made some remarks in Assam. This is basically